Whenever you get the yogurt for incubation, come and inform Mr. Bakaya John where you get the yogurt for incubation. If you didn't take it to the patient lab, inform Mr. Bakaya where you put it.
We need to leave a passage there. People were sitting. That's why I had left some way there. I keep sending for material.
If you're schooling and having sufficient material to put out tomorrow, and you just sat at the registration table.
No, what I'm coming now. Okay, good afternoon once again. So my name is Peter Muhizi, as you have heard from a few of the Gayaza students that know me, and I'm going to be facilitating ice cream making this afternoon. Before I do that, I need to request somebody to volunteer and come put it with me. We had our American of water there. Is it still there? It might be around there. Let them find it, wash their hands, and come. I will use my most distant neighbor. There is some water there. Find it, wash your hands clean, come and I give you a napkin, and then we get started. As I wait for my teaching assistant, we can be sharing some relevant theories concerning ice cream. To begin with, ice cream is one of those very good dairy products that are in the line of milk value addition chain. Now, this is the story. A liter of milk costs on average about 1,800. In some cases it might go for 2,000, in some others it might be 1,600, 7, like that. Now, value addition means increasing the economic value and benefit of a given product. So instead of selling a liter of milk at 1,800, is there anything I can do to that milk to make sure that I gain more money? As we are going to see today, when we make ice cream, for example, out of about 5 liters, our sample space today is about 5 liters, you can earn about 100,000 out of only 5 liters. Which means out of 100 liters, following that model, you can be able to earn about 1 million. And yet, if you chose to sell that milk as plain milk, 50 liters times 2,000, that is 100,000. So when will you pay the workers? When will you ever be rich? That is what you call value addition. Increasing the economic benefit of a given product. Now, in terms of ice cream, since this is a dairy product, it is 90% milk. No, it is 90% milk. So instead of you milking that fresh milk from any of your farms, and you just take it to the local market and they offer you peanuts, you can add some value to that milk by making ice cream, like we are going to learn today. So together with my teaching assistant, we are going to be taking you through how to make ice cream. The first thing is to list the ingredients that we need. Are we there? We are listing the ingredients that we need. The most important ingredient in making ice cream is liquid milk. Liquid milk. We usually have two options. You can use fresh milk from the farm. In Gaza we have a farm, so you can go for that milk, boil it, let it cool. That is your liquid milk that is ready for use. If you don't have time to first boil then cool, like sometimes it is, for example in our training today, you can use what we are using today, which we call pasteurized milk. This milk is extremely safe for human consumption. You don't need to boil. You can boil if you want, but this milk is very safe. You can open and drink. So you can use it for making ice cream, yogurt, any product you want. And usually it is richer in fats. So for our practice session today, we are using pasteurized milk. That is the first ingredient. The second major ingredient we are using today is skimmed milk. Skimmed milk is what we call powdered milk. Milk in powder form. Of course, powder milk is a local term. Milk can only be put into powder form if it is skimmed. Skimming is a technical term to mean evaporating all the water out of the milk. The content that is left is solidified, dried, and we end up getting what we call the skimmed milk. So it is also a form of milk. The third ingredient we shall be using today, we are using a very simple recipe that has things that we can easily access. All these things are available in the local market. The third one we are using, not starch, somebody saying starch. This is corn flour. Corn flour. Corn flour is a product of maize. You have interacted with maize. When you get maize and you get the white inner part, there is a small part in a maize grain that is usually white, is what we use to make corn flour. So we need this in the process of making ice cream today. The other ingredient that we want to use is glucose syrup. Now, glucose can be in powder form or in syrup form. This is usually the best product to use, the syrup form, but it has a limitation, and for today we are not going to use this one because of that challenge. For example, this is the liquid that we are supposed to use. It is not pouring. So if I was to use this, I would need a source of heat, water, first boil it in water to raise the temperature so that it can melt. When it melts, now you can easily pour it in anything and use it. In the interest of time, whenever you don't have a lot of time to use this one, you can actually use powder glucose, which is what we are going to use today. In first the other side of that container, it has some glucose. So that is the next ingredient. The next ingredient we are using is sugar. Sugar, common sugar, not any other complex form of sugar. So we shall be using common sugar to make the ice cream. So I said we are using a basic simple recipe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the last one, before the flavor, we add a simple emulsifier known as Cmc. Cmc is a simple preservative that we add to create two effects in the ice cream. One is to create the expansion. You know, milk does not expand. Milk, just like water, it doesn't have that expansion component like you see, let's say, in this syrup you have seen. When you are trying to pour it, it stretches. Milk does not have that expansion component. And yet for ice cream, you want something that is in the middle. Even when you are serving it, you want it to flow, not to just keep breaking as you serve it in a machine. So because of that, we add small quantity, like we shall see, of CMC, and the final ingredient we shall be using is a flavor. You can choose any flavor you want. You can use chocolate or strawberry, vanilla, mango, orange, so many flavors. Flavors are okay. Any flavor that you want. So, these are our key ingredients we are going to use today to make our simple soft serve ice cream. You also need a few important tools, equipment in making ice cream. One of them is a simple weighing scale. We are going to be talking quantities, 500 grams, 200 grams of this and the other. So you need to have a way of measuring them. You can also estimate them, but it is not very safe for you to work with estimates. Because for some of them, if you put rather too much, you spoil everything. That is why we shall be using our simple weighing scale. The other simple instrument we are going to be using is a spoon. And lastly, we shall be using this mingling stick as an ordinary alternative for a hand blender. That one. If you want, its top is down there, they were using it. But this is an electric blender. Now, if you had to use this one, you would have to be sure that you have electricity. But somebody might want to make, ice cream without access to power. So that is why we simplified it and said, no, let us just use a mingling stick because this anyone can access. Having gone through the tools that we are using, of course, we also need our bowl where we are going to be preparing our mix from. So having gone through all these ones now, I will ask my teaching assistant to be the one to stand here because she's going to champion the other activities that we are going to do. Okay, now before we start handling these ones, I need to tell you a standard formula that you can use, and then we shall keep modifying it. Our standard formula considers about 20 liters of milk. So in other words, we are now writing the recipe. In 20 liters of milk, we can add 500 grams of skimmed milk. 500 grams is usually what? What? Half a kilogram. Good. So you are either adding a half a kilogram or, like you have said, 500 grams of powdered milk or skimmed milk. We say those two mean the same. You add about sugar. It depends on your clientele. Who are you making it for? I have learned that children usually have a very sweet tooth. When you put, let's say, 2 kilograms of sugar in 20 liters, children might complain that there is less sugar. So for children, we usually put about 3 kilograms of sugar. And yet for adults, between 2 and 2.5. So in our recipe, you can note that we use between 2 and 3 kilograms of sugar. That one is enough. Our third ingredient is the corn flour. We don't put a lot of corn flour. In 20 liters, for example, we recommend that you put about 300 grams Again, I said we shall be speaking figures and numbers, you know. So we put about 300 grams. They are enough in 20 liters. We shall see how to measure that. The next one is glucose. Why do we first of all add glucose? Glucose gives ice cream a shimmering component so that it looks clear. It is not dull. If you don't add this one, you can still make ice cream. But when you serve it on a cone, it appears dull. You know how posho looks like? It is like posho put on a cone. Very dull. Glucose gives it that extra touch of appearance, but also it makes it flow with ease. Flow, you know? So that when you serve it, somebody will see it yummy and inviting for them to consume. So, what amount of glucose is recommendable in 20 liters? This whole tin is usually 250 grams. This tin. Now, in a full jerry can, we recommend that you add about 150. In a full jerry can, 150. Good. The last one is the Cmc Preservative. This is the most sensitive ingredient because one, its effect, I told you, that is number one, to emulsify. To emulsify means to expand, but at the same time, to make ice cream not very hard. Have you ever tried to put water in a fridge, to freeze water, to make ice? You get something that is solid hard. That hardness of ice is what you get when you just put ice cream in a machine without CMC. It is very hard that somebody does not see any soft component in it. At the same time, this CMC, if you put a lot of it, it means the effect will be you cannot get a solid thing. Even after serving, you will still have ice cream just pouring. It can never solidify. So you must be very careful with the quantity of CMC that you put in. For example, in our 20 liters, we usually recommend that you put 100 grams in 20 liters. So we shall see how to keep cutting that down. Okay, the last one is flavor. Flavor does not have a lot of strict measures. I know people who can pour about 5, leads because they want something that is extremely red and it is still okay. I know, for example, in this we have been adding just 2 of them and you see the whole content turning, strawberry. So this one is not very sensitive that you have to measure this exactly. You just need to add as you start, make sure that it has fully circulated in the whole liquid. Okay, now we are good to go. We are good to start. So I will need another volunteer who should be a very serious mathematician because we are now going to speak numbers. Kataha, are you one? Okay, you are going to work from there. So Kataha is going to be our chief mathematician as we handle this exercise. Now, why do we need this mathematician? Because we must be very careful with our ratios. For example, this afternoon, we don't have 20 liters of milk. We are using 5 liters of liquid milk. So, the rest of us and perhaps our chief mathematician, if we need 500 grams of skimmed milk in 20 liters of liquid milk, how much skimmed milk do we need in 5? Because now we must keep adjusting. That's the math I talked about. Yeah, you cannot run away from mathematics. We said in a jerry can, in 20 liters, we add 500 grams. Okay? But now we are using only 5 liters. So we need to know how much skimmed milk must we add, because it is the first thing that we want to add. 30. These mathematicians. We have 5 liters. Yes. Yes, Lilian, you have the answer? Yes? Sorry? 40 grams, are you sure? Uh-huh. 120. Are people guessing what they're calculating? 125. Somebody needs to assist people that are getting lost how we are getting this. Uh-huh. Katara, how have you gotten our 125?
So,
Can we listen?
in 20 liters, we need 500 grams.
Yes.
But we have 5 liters.
Yes.
That means we have to find out how many grams we need in 1 liter.
Correct.
So we divide 500 by 20, then
By
we multiply
20.
5.
Then we
get
multiply
the
by
five.
5. So you must first find out how much skimmed milk do I need in 1 liter of milk. Then you can multiply with any number. And that is the most important component, because today we are using 5 liters. Tomorrow at home you may want to use 2 liters. You may go somewhere and they say, we have 50 liters of milk, prepare for us ice cream. So you need to work backward. How much skimmed milk do I need for 1 liter? Then times the number of liters that I'm dealing with, and now I can know the volume of skimmed milk that we need. So, teaching assistant, we are told that we need a total of 125 grams. This is our simple weighing scale. We put it on, then we need a way of measuring this. Okay, since we need to use this polythene bag, let us begin with the sugar. We now know the quantity of skimmed milk that we shall add, okay? Can we get the quantity of sugar? We are going to use the upper limit. In the 20 liters of liquid milk, we need 3 kilograms. How much sugar do we need in the 5 kilograms? In the 5 liters?
Ice cream.
We need 750 grams. Clap for our mathematician. And how is he getting that? Do you want to guide people how you get to 750?
Okay, since 20 liters have 3 kilograms of sugar.
Yes.
Now the 5 liters have 3/4 of the kilogram of sugar. But 3/4 in grams will give you 750 grams.
Oh, his method is, you need to be, quick at numbers. He's using the logic that 5 is actually 1/4 of 20. That's his math. And so since you are cutting the milk by using just 1/4, even the sugar, you just need the quarter of the original quantity. That's how he gets 0.75, which is the 750. In other words, he gets our, in 1 kilogram, we have how many grams? We have 1,000 grams. So he gets that 300 grams divides by the volume of, not by 5. We'll be multiplying by 5. He divides by 2 and then multiplies by 5 the volume of milk that we have. This is extremely important for you to know because you don't use a constant amount of milk all the time. Today 1 liter, the other day 5. So you must know how to adjust and get the quantity that you want. So can we begin by measuring 750 grams of sugar? No, we're not going to use that. We shall use this one directly, and then so we are looking for 750 since our polythene bag we are using to measure is rather small, we are going to do simple mathematics. We have now 450 we started with 4 grams. Okay, good. The net weight of the polythene bag was 4 grams. Now these are 450. Pour there. What balance are we looking for? We are now looking for more, 300 grams. So you don't need to say, I need a container that has 700. No. Just know the total quantity you are looking for. Teaching assistant is wasting resources. How much is that? 300 and? 300 and? What quantity are we looking for?
300.
300. We started with the net weight of 4. Okay, so that is our 300. So that is the total of 750 grams of sugar, and to which we want to add how much of skimmed milk? 5 grams. 125. Good. $100 and so that is our 125 grams of skimmed milk. Now, we must first cook that until it fully mixes. You must understand that in cooking, procedure is a very important part of our recipe. You are going to use our mingling stick to make sure that you mix the sugar and the skimmed milk so that they fully dissolve. And I was explaining that in cooking procedure is very important. If you started with CMC, for example, and milk, sugar cannot dissolve before you put cannot dissolve with a CMC if you didn't first dissolve it in the skimmed milk. So when we say begin with those two, that is the only way you will mix your things and you get the flavor that we want. So after those ones, she's still of course mixing. Our next ingredient to add is going to be our corn flour. Mathematician, how much corn flour do we need in our 5 liters? 75 grams. How do we get that once again? What total do we need for 20 liters? We said we put about tell them corn flour, then they go and add the maize flour. You will be making portioned ice cream. So it is still less. We need to add on. These are 36, and we said we need 70. We need 75.
The joiners will waking up. We are going for the next activity, which is the campus of today. Thank you very much.
That's the 2. So this is about 78, which is what we need. It was where is this one? Did it fall down? $75 of our sweet corn or corn flour. What next? Glucose, we say what volume did we need in 20 liters? 150 grams. Now how much do we need in our 5 liters? 20? 37.5. You can just do 37. That is exactly 37. Now she's supposed to again whip those ones up when they fully dissolve before we can add in our last dry ingredient, which is CMC. Why is it important to first handle the dry ingredients? Because the liquid, for example, ingredients that we have here, we are now using only one, the liquid milk, because we said the glucose we shall use the powder, we have already added. Dry ingredients will mix with ease. So you must first handle all the dry ingredients before you begin to add any liquid ingredients, if you have any liquid ingredient to be added. Can I see your mix now? Okay. 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 This is a good product so far. Now we need to add in our CMC short span preservative. How much do we need in 5 liters? Only 25 grams. Yeah, ordinarily, people usually say, but I may not have a weighing scale. This medium-sized spoon is considered to have between, depending on, of course, how you scoop, the volume. But we usually consider it to have on average 20 grams. So this one I scooped, I think, a lot. It has 24. Since I need 25, I can add a pinch. That's 25. Okay. So now all our dry ingredients are in. Our next thing is to stir until it fully mixes before we add our liquid ingredients. Okay, so now we are good to add our liquid ingredients. Now as you add the liquid, you need to be careful. We begin by adding a small portion. By small I don't mean, very little, but I mean, let's say I need now to first handle only this half. If I put all this milk, even if you took a day stirring, they can never mix. First handle now that one. So you increase the speed as they dissolve. So you must first whip this up to when it tries to dissolve. So the most important thing as you whip this is to make sure that you do not have any solid particles left in. Because as you add in more milk, it becomes harder for you to dissolve any solid particles that you didn't dissolve when you had less liquid inside. That's why before we add more milk, we must ensure that we don't have any solid particles, and I think she has done a good job. The other important thing as you add this milk, after opening the milk, look at the milk, first look at the milk, because what happens after adding all the milk, and you happen to be unlucky that one of your milk packets is bad, you must pour everything. If you just keep adding, and it happens a lot, it is one of those risks in this business. You keep adding, let's say you are making 20 liters. As you add the 19th one, after pouring it inside, you get a terrible smell. You have added in bad milk. Everything you just go and pour. Even if you were very greedy and you said, I want to sell, no one can even come to your stall when you have bad milk inside. Even people who are farmers say, what is smelling around here? So it is an assured loss that you make, and you go and buy other ingredients. So you don't trust this milk. Of course, it is also highly recommended that if you are going to use it for business, you buy from a very busy place, not people who keep it for a week and then they give it to you to go and make terrible losses. Buy from people that have a higher turnover, who you can be sure they sell every other milk that they receive. Okay? It is a very clear solution now, because she made sure that there were no particles before we add in more milk. The other important precaution about milk that I must tell you, especially for some of us that so much love ice cream that we can even buy it from anywhere. There are people out of the desire to make profits. They walk to the farm, any farm, buy any milk, don't boil, go and make ice cream. You still make ice cream. Extremely unsafe ice cream. Extremely unsafe. All the diseases that animals are suffering from are transferred to we as human beings. So, as you learn how to make ice cream, the last thing you should ever think about is to use unboiled milk, be it for yourself or for anyone to sell to any other person. Make sure that you are using boiled milk, especially if you cannot afford pasteurized milk. Why do those people use unboiled milk? Essentially because you can end up cutting the cost by half. 1 liter of this today costs between 3.5 and 3.7, depending on where you buy it from. This one, I think they brought it here at 3,600. And yet 1 liter of unboiled milk anywhere can get about 1,600, 700. So somebody who just wants to make profit, they just can't buy the other one and make. After all, no one is seeing them as they make. You just can't buy, when the product is ready. Okay, so I think our solution is now ready. Now, it must be this clear without any particles. If you make your ice cream and you see that you have so many particles on top, you know there is something you did not do right. It has to be very, very smooth and clear like porridge, ready to be poured in the machine. So the last thing is now to add in a flavor of our choice. And I'm told these people want strawberry. Not here with me, I am left with the strawberry and the chocolate. So what are we taking? Strawberry? Okay. Strawberry clearly has more supporters, like it has been the case in the previous sessions. Now, one precaution as you deal with the strawberry, it is very, very stubborn. First of all, unlike other flavors, when they go, let's say, when they stain any of your clothes, they are easy to remove. But strawberry, you struggle. So you need to handle it with care. Don't get it closer to your clothes, because that stain, you may end up abandoning that particular. So I said we can either add 2 or 1, depending on how hot red we want it. 60. Let us first do 2 and see what it looks like. I just add. Is a lot. I don't want you to fail to take your ice cream after making it together. Yeah, that one is okay. That one is okay. So the last part now is to go and add our ice cream solution into the ice cream dispensing machine. I hope power is back. Yeah. Generator is running. Okay. So now, as you can see, the last part is to understand the practical meaning of value addition. We have added 5 liters of liquid milk here, a little bit of skimmed milk, a little bit of corn flour. By estimation, the total cost of the solution in here at most can be 20,000 or 15,000. But if you are pouring this ice cream in a machine to sell it, we are going to see that it can serve more than 70 people. This one can serve more than 70 people. Even if you are selling it at 2,000, how much money is that? Just 2,140. And yet, the 5 liters of milk, if somebody was selling them as just milk, how much money are they getting? At 2,000 at most, 10,000. Value addition means to increase the economic value of a product. That from the same Because no one will say, but they just put milk. Why are they selling me 2,000? Somebody is assured that now they are buying ice cream, not milk. And they are not complaining because they are buying a different product. You bring your milk and tell them that you are selling milk at 3,000. That same quantity of ice cream, no one will buy. Because they know it is just milk. The moment you add value, no one is complaining. And this is true for so many other products in agriculture that we deal in. You are regular consumers of coffee. Very small tin of this size can go for about 20,000. And yet 1 kilogram, a full kilogram of coffee, 1,200. And if you sold coffee at 5,000, no one would buy. It is just coffee. But after processing it and they get the final product, somebody is willing to pay a lot of money. Our theme this year is about empowering the youth through agriculture, value chain, to realize the importance of adding value on the different products that we deal in. Can I have a few questions before we go to the machine? Because when we go, the session will have ended. Yes?
I wanted to ask, like, why do we start after adding everything? Like, for example, when you added sugar, when you put sugar and then you added milk, you start then again you added something. Right?
Yes, because we want, first of all, whenever we put any two substances together, our interest is to make them one. So by just pouring them there and you don't stir, they don't become one. They are two different things in the same container. You mix them so that you now have one substance. So that eventually you now have one solution with different ingredients inside. Another question here? If we don't put the flavor, is it still ice cream? Yes, it can still be ice cream. Just like we have plain yogurt, we can have plain ice cream. No flavor added. Okay? Of course, flavors add a stronger scent, usually that somebody likes, either mango or orange, or so it's important that we flavor to increase the scent. Very good. At home, where you don't have an ice cream machine, can, let's say, a freezer work? A freezer can actually work. But if you use a freezer, there are a few factors you must take care of. One of them being, so far a freezer cannot work with us, for us where we are. We have already gone past that stage. One, that machine has a way of converting by whipping. It keeps whipping the ice cream at the same time solidifying it. In a fridge, you don't have that component. So because of that, you don't add a lot of milk like we have done. You add, for example, in the other ratios, we advise that you add only 1 liter of milk, so that your solution is in a semi-solid state already before you even put it in a fridge. Then, as the other things are the same, apart from two important things we add on. If you are making ice cream without an ice cream machine, you must add what you call whipping cream. Some of us have seen this. In supermarkets, they're there. They're labeled whipping cream, sometimes just milk cream or full cream. They are used for whipping, and the other machine helps us to bring the other fat out. But now we don't have the machine, so we add the whipping cream in order to increase the fat content. And as we transfer into a fridge, we must make sure that is one that can read the temperature. We need between -5 and -10. Should it be beyond that, you'll find a stone-like thing like this, which you cannot eat. So it must be, somebody saying, but you can first leave it maybe. If you remove it, then you first leave it again to be as if it is melting. So if you want to get good ice cream, make sure that there is a way you can measure the temperature in that fridge to be between -5 and -10. You will get scoop ice cream that you can actually serve and eat without using a dispensing machine. They are checking on me. We are running out of time.
Okay. Just on behalf of the participants, I realized you're putting on something as you're making ice cream. Can't I use bare hands or get surgical gloves?
Okay, that is important. One, first of all, I think my other mistake I made, I did not advise my assistant to use our simple gloves. These gloves are highly compatible with foodstuffs. Surgical gloves are not at all compatible with foodstuffs. Even at home as you do your basic cooking, never put on surgical gloves. They are not compatible with foodstuffs. These ones are. You can handle food using these ones, and food is very safe. You don't use surgical gloves. So thank you for that question on behalf of the participants. That's our last question, then we go to the machine. What is the importance of the skimmed milk? One, to increase the fat content. Remember, milk alone has more proteins than fats. So we add the skimmed milk to increase the fat content. But the other obvious value of skimmed milk is to give us that solid content that we want. Milk alone would give us a liquid thing that is just flowing. So, majority of these other ingredients help us to get something that is just heavy, not just foam. You know, when you just use milk without anything, when you put it in a machine, it whips it and you serve something that is just in foam, which is not heavy, very light and foam. That's not what we want. Okay, thank you for being a good audience. We can now go to the machine, add in our content, wait for about 10 minutes, and serve our ice cream.
Schools that have projects to present, register them at the registration table. Trainers, I request that we wind up. Trainers, kindly wind up.
It has been serious time of learning, so we can relax with talent show practice. The ice cream people, come and get your samples.
Thanks to all the trainers, thanks to the trainers that made this a success. We appreciate the effort of the trainers.
Excuse me, come back to the chair. Come back to the chair. Come back to the chair.
So we need to finalize with okay, so one compartment has vanilla, so we are going to add ours in the second compartment. First way. Mpaka cold. So we just saw something. So you can now add it. Now this machine is what makes the final ice cream. And soft serve ice cream is incomplete if you do not have the machine, because it is called a soft serve ice cream maker. So if you don't have it, you can first stop there. In all honesty, you cannot fully make the soft serve ice cream. Once you pour in your solution in here, if the machine has not been running, it takes about 20 minutes. But if the machine has been running, then it takes usually less time. So this machine has been running. Because it has been running, it is going to take much less time to convert this ice cream, and it will be ready for serving. So we are going to wait for these few minutes, and we shall give an opportunity to some lucky people. Lucky because let me be very sure.